going on, everybody? It is Furkyz from Mon, and today we have another materials lesson for you today. Today we're going to be going over how to make a material metallic and add a little bit of a rough texture, as well as a masked opacity material. These two items will enable you to add further detail to your maps, label items with no background, enabling players to see right past it but still grab the importance of the image. On the right side, you can see this metallic square with a little bit of a rough patch. I'll show you first how to actually make it shiny and then add a little bit of roughness to it to make it look like it has some wear and tear. Additionally, we'll go and review the Rolling Mountain logo and how we did that. So how do you place a logo and make it disappear through the back? That is called a masked opacity. And let's get into it. All right, let's get started. So we're going to go over the shiny rough material first. To dive into this, I wanted to call out three key items before we get started. Firstly, make sure your outliner, all of your items are organized appropriately in folders. Organization is key here. Additionally, are your content browser folders also organized? So do you have everything labeled? And thirdly, are your logos and text items imported with the dimensions of a power of 2? All of mine are, as you can see here in the dimensions tab. It says 512 by 512. This ensures that it can be modeled efficiently and the output is smooth. So let's dive into this. We're going to make the shiny material first and place on this object. This is what we're trying to get to here. So what I'm going to do is click add a new material. We're going to name this M underscore shiny rough. We're going to call it M shruff. From there, we're going to click on it and boom, we are back into the material graph and the left side. What I'm going to do here is close out and simplify a few things, close the tab here to the right. I'm going to unpin that just so we can click down. Perfect. So now we are taking a look at our material. So to get started here, what I'm going to do is review the left side, which is our material properties. We're going to make sure that it says surface and opaque. We are going to make no changes. So we can click the drop down and ignore that for the rest of the lesson. What we're going to do here is going to mainly exist in the material graph area. Firstly, we're going to want to create a 3 value constant to create our base color. This can be done by pressing number 3 and left clicking, double clicking on the box, and then adding your color and pressing OK. By doing that, we are immediately adding a color to the sphere in the main material node labeled M shruff. From there, we need to make it shiny and make it metallic. So what are we going to do here? This can be done by adding a 1 value constant. I'm going to label this 1 and plug that into the metallic item. Oh, it looks awesome already. Look at that. So I'm just going to organize a few things here. We have our base color, made it metallic so you can see this pretty shiny, but it's not mirroring at all. So how do we do that? Well, that can be done by adding one more 1 value constant and pressing 1 and then connecting that into the roughness put through. But wait, it's now like super solid and back to our original color. What if we just make this 0? Boom, we get our metallic shiny material. What if I just clicked apply and made this be applied to the object? Let's just take a quick look. Boom, look at that. So we have immediately a shiny metallic cube. As you can see, it is reflecting and catching some of the roughness from the other cube. We go right here, it's perfectly shiny. So how do we add a little bit of roughness to it? What if this has been sitting in the rain for some reason and we need to make some imperfections here show? We are going to go back into our M shruff material and we're going to do some sizable manipulation here. So make sure as you do follow along to understand what each of these nodes mean. I'm just going to go through them for the sake of timing of the tutorial. The first and immediate thing we need to do here is apply a texture sample. What that means is we are going to go into here and go into the noises and import a texture. So if you click and drag, boom, we got a texture in here. Then we're going to add a few different items. The first being the parameter. This can be done by left clicking S. We're going to call this rough bias. What that means is going to influence the strength of the roughness, and we're gonna work through that. The next thing we're going to want to do is right click and click contrast and select cheap contrast. Double click there. And then we're going to build out a few more things. We're going to add two one value constants. So if we click here, those are mirrored. And then we're going to add a lerp node. So if you press L, we're going to lerp a few of these things together. And then an add node, which we went over in the previous tutorial, which is merging these things beautifully. And then we're going to add a clamp node right here. So we're going to right click one more time and click clamp, add the mathematical node, and boom, we have all of our items laid out. So these are the core infrastructure to add to the roughness and apply that texture. So let's connect a few things here. We're going to plug in the texture sample right into the cheap contrast, apply both of these into the lerp as well as the parameter. So as you can see, we're getting to a few things here. And then we're going to plug both of these items in together and tie it out into the clamp node. Before we proceed, we're going to make a few revisions. The first one being -1 in this box, and then 1 in this box. Not 10, just the number 1. And the rough bias we are going to put as 0.15 for now. From here, we are going to break our previous roughness node. So press Alt left click and then plug in this clamp node. As you can see, there's barely a little bit on there. What if we increase the strength to 3? Then we've lost all shininess. So what if we went to 1? Still nothing. So what if we did 0.5? Ooh, here we go. We're getting a little bit closer. We're at 0.15. What if we did 0.25? Oh, there we go. There's that wear and tear. So what we just did is adjust the roughness node, added a few varying items to merge this texture sample, and apply it to the roughness node to then overlay our base color and our metallic feature. You can go ahead and remove this one, click apply and save. We're going to X out and then look at that. Mirroring images here. We got the same wear texture as the one on the left. It's going to be done for rusting cars, chain link fences, any metallic items, gold bars, some silver. But thank you so much. That is part 1 of this tutorial. We are now going to go into a opacity mask as the next part. Since we finished up the shiny rough material, let's transition to part 2 of this video. How do we create a blend mask with a logo to where you can kind of see through it but still see the logo there, so it adds some dimension. Usually it's used for chain link fences and other items there, or a text box to where it only isolates the text and you see nothing around it. To get started, we need to click the add button and add a new material. We're going to name this M_Moverly because we're going to call it a M overlay. That's a unique combination. You're going to double click and pull up the material graph, and you're going to see the main material node. What we need to do is blur it out. So if you actually go to the left, we are going to manipulate the material properties for the first time ever. We're going to leave the material domain as surface and then click on masked, which is that second one. As you can see, our opacity mask appears, and let's get started. I'm going to drag this in here, as well as add a 3 value constant. You can do that by pressing the number 3 and left clicking, double tap the black square, apply your desired color. I'm going to plug that in right here so you can see that our thing is actually already blue. Perfect. And if we just plug that in, sweet, we have our overlay. And that's pretty much it. You can now officially and successfully go drag this, and look at that. It has added the M's rolling through. So now you have 2 of these really cool boxes, but that is how you make a mask overlay. Think of this as a item that you want to go through complex solid surfaces like wire mesh. I already mentioned chain links. So how do you apply something but still see through it with opacity? Another critical item that can be done here is we're going to add a new material and show you one final nugget. This is going to be called m underscore text op, which is text opacity, and we're going to open that up. So when you want to label items on your map where players can pick up weapons or items, you should definitely capitalize on this. So we can actually do translusive, which creates a opacity option. I'm going to drag in a meow text because shout out Meow Souls and Kit, and we're going to apply this to the base color. As you can see the word meow, but how do we add opacity behind it? If we just add a one value constant, convert that to the number 1, and plug in opacity, it doesn't work. Oh man, how is that supposed to happen? Well, it's because we need to change where this gets plugged into here. So we're going to click Alt to break the link and add it to opacity, and boom, you can see that our meow item was applied. That's perfect, but what if we go back to the opacity masked one and apply it there? It looks like our link is not possible, so we're going to put it into opacity mask. Look at that, we are at the right item, and it's showing as black because we have nothing placed into the base color. That can be again quickly revised by updating what your constant is and then plug it into the base color, and boom, we've changed the text. So meow with no background. If you plug that in and exit out here and then drag that onto this box, boom, you can see it's meow, which is so exciting. And that's how you label items. So if you want a player to see, like, grab an item here, you can drag that on and add it. So that is how you create and mess around with opacity or revising around something, whether it's a logo or text. Thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for you today in lesson number 2. Happy building. Thank you so much for watching another Monten video, and do good. Happy creating.